Hello everyone, today we're going to be taking a look at a scenario where civilization starts over. In the last episode, we saw the collapse of India, Russia, and we saw Colombia declaring war on Brazil, which backfired, and a couple of other stuff happening over here. But today's episode is going to be very, very important. And the episode is going to begin over here in this northern part of the Indian Ocean. Because an Indian ship went over here and it went missing. And just 2 weeks before this cargo ship went missing, people spotted Arabian ships right here, and the president thinks that these Arabian ships were the ones that blew up their cargo ship, and they sent the ship right here. It ended up being blown up by the Persians, but the Indians think that it was actually the UAE. And now they're accusing the UAE for something that they didn't even do. Now, the LO1's response to this incident was that they are threatening to kick out Persia, the UAE, Arabia. They're threatening to kick out these three countries. Kazakhstan, they're supporting Persia into staying into the LO1. And the president's or king's response to these LO1 responses, their response to their response is it's not that bad. They talk about that they're sorry, but the reason they blew up that cargo ship is because that wasn't a cargo ship. That was a naval ship. That naval ship had spies on it, and those spies were supposed to go over here into Arabian territory, go to the capital, and assassinate the leader of Arabia. The LO1's response to India was missile threat, because only one country, actually 2 countries, have missiles, and that's Russia and China, and they're threatening India with these missiles. Now the world thinks that the missiles are the strongest weapon in the world, even though they're not even close to what we have. But yeah. Another thing is Finland. Finland wants to own all of Scandinavia, but they can't afford that, or even keep that land. That's why in the war they were only able to take that piece of land. Over here, Turkey wants to buy this, and they need everyone's signature, every leader's signature, to get all these 3 pieces of land. But only one is actually willing to do it, and that's Bulgaria. Bulgaria only has a small piece of land, and it's basically all Turkish and not Bulgarian, so they're willing to do it. But instead of just taking all of the land, they decide just to take Bulgaria's. But now, let's take a look at America. Because Texas and America had a war a couple years ago, and that war ended up leading to Texas leaving the LON. West America's response to this, California's response to this was not very pretty, and now these two are beef. Now, the LON doesn't want to kick out these 2 countries, and that's because they're very rich in money, and they're basically the main countries besides the security councils. So Texas is going to try to make a defense pact with the terrorists, as well as the Central Americans, but it does fail, as both of them do not agree, as the terrorists are planning to make their own alliance with the Ecuadorians and the Bolivians. But yeah. Now, Brazil. So as we know, Brazil has been wanting to become Security Council member forever. And today is the voting. Well, lucky them because they were able to become the newest Security Council member. People, or the ape people, don't trust Brazil with this kind of power, but the humans do. Now, a new law was given out that anyone caught trying to kill the leader, like spies were caught, would be immediately executed in the Amazon. They would be kept there for a year, and if they survived, they would be innocent, and if they didn't, they would be pleaded guilty. Which is kind of dumb, because, yeah. Now Ethiopia. Ethiopia is going kind of under collapse. Well, not really, because people from over here hate this country, and people from over here are protesting in the capital. And that protesting is that they demand to annex all this land, and well, Ethiopia is like telling them that they can't even do that, and that they can't even keep all that land because Kenya is going through somewhat of a war over here with this country. So yeah. The protests stopped, and they're kind of having a civil war. The civil war is going on right here, and this is really just a civil war to stop the protesting, even though they're protesting, but yeah. So they're going under a civil war. Another one pops up over here, and they end up connecting. Okay, so yeah, this is what it looks like. But now let's take a look at the Nigerian. Why is there a capital? Now let's take a look at the Nigerian country, because they're also going through somewhat of a collapse, because the sign country, the Mullen country, whatever you want to call it, the Niger, they want this piece of land. They want all of this, because they say that they don't have big of a coastline, and they want a bigger coastline, which looks something like this. Of course, Nigeria does not accept this, because they're actually making a deal with this Congo country, that they could take all this, and that them, because this country wants to join this country. Nigeria is willing to do it, but they can't afford it. So yeah, now they're kind of going through some arguments. But now let's take a look at Iberia, because Iberia, well, another conflict, because Morocco wants this piece of land, Iberia is saying no, and Morocco keeps telling them that they don't need it because it's pretty useless, even though it's actually very valuable, because they could do trading over here. They don't trust Morocco with that. They don't trust them. You know, they do kind of want to do it, but they don't trust them, because due to them both having control of it, they're gonna have for sure some arguments, because Morocco, they support Texas, while the Iberians support America, and America and Texas have some beef. So, but now let's take a look at Oceania. Now, this is what the people consider Oceania, just to let y'all know. But something weird is going on, because another conflict is going on over here. Because as we see, they are threatening to declare war on Australia. They are threatening to declare war on Australia. Australia's response to Western Australia's threatening is a laugh. They actually think that they could take over this. In real life, they're kind of right. But Indonesia and them have a defense pact, and it is unknown. The only countries that actually know this defense pact are China, Southeast Asia, Bangladesh, Japan, and the other Security Council members. So yeah, all these countries have no idea. And well, West Australia has now declared war on Australia. Troops enter in with no declaration of war, and they just start entering into the country. absolutely no reason. Well, they do kind of have a reason. Oh yeah, the lighter it gets, that means the more troops there are. And now we see a huge invasion. Well, it's not that huge, it's just big. It's not actually really that big. But now more troops are being sent, and now the war is actually getting a little more intense, as more troops are starting to be sent into war and to fight for them. But, it fails miserably. They're pushed back all the way to where they used to be, right here. Right here. This is where they used to be. This is their progress. So yeah, not that big of a process. Indonesians are having a naval battle. But now back to India. Back to the conflict. India and Arabia are now finally decided to figure out what to do. But before they figure it out, the assassination of the Arabian leader took place by Indian spies, and now the deal that they thought they were going to have is now over, and war has now started, as the new Arabian leader has declared war on the Indian leader, and war is now started. The UAE alongside Arabia, Persia alongside Arabia, but then we have Turkey on the side of India, this northern Indian country, this Tibet country, the side of India, and finally Sri Lanka on the side of India. And now the Great Indian War has started, and countries in this area are now going to have to choose teams that will fight for the Arabian leader. And in the next episode, we will see how this will escalate and how the LON will deal with this, as well as the Security Council members in Asia. More countries will pick sides in that region, and soon the Great Indian War will begin between Arabia and India. That is the end of this episode. Thank y'all for watching. See y'all in the next one.